Hey, we're on the J&J show on Power 109. Janice Dickinson, former supermodel, gave an interview recently on Nancy Grace. And basically this interview was a godsend for Bill Cosby because this bitch was drunk, high, incoherent. Her story sounded so off. It was more of a circus show, a freak show, than an actual interview. Some of the allegations and the accusations she made, it was just so strange, so weird. And basically, it gave credence to the idea that these hoes was making up shit. Because quite frankly, I sat there and listened, and me and Jay, we both actually listened to it. And the first thing out of this bitch's mouth is, I can't breathe. And I watched that shit like, what? And then she goes on to try to reference the Eric Garner situation. Like the whole country can't breathe right now with the protests. I can't breathe because of Bill Cosby. I haven't slept in 3 days. Shut the fuck up. Just stop. You haven't slept in 3 days because you're on cocaine. You know, and then she goes on to say, and nigga, that part where she was like, he was in me. What?
You said he took a month off? He was in me. I mean, nigga, for a whole month, he was in you. I mean, shit, after the first time, I wouldn't have been around his ass no motherfucking more. But to me, the whole fucking interview just seems like one big clusterfuck. Like, whoever it was that, is her representative or her agent or anybody else had to be shaking their head, doing the face palm thing, like, oh, well, this shit just went down the drain. She is on there clowning, man. She's yelling, she's screaming, she's talking about all this shit. And a lot of her story just seemed like she's jumping from one thing to the next. She ain't really finishing sentences. She's talking about Cosby sending her roses. She's talking about she was going to have a role on the Cosby show. I don't believe that shit, first of all. I mean, hey, look, maybe Bill tried to tell us some bullshit, but I mean, hey, look, you should have known, nigga. Cosby show was a black show. Your ass was not going to fit on that show anywhere at any point for any fucking reason. But that's beside the point.
But she was so high and drunk at the time that there's no way he would have that coming to his set.
Yeah.
Let alone be on the show, but even coming to the set with that bullshit, with the kids that he had there, and just with the general class and respect that took place on that show.
Still high and whatnot now. I mean, high and drunk and on drugs and on this and on that.
Look how wide open that bitch eyes were. That whole fucking interview, that bitch like she saw a ghost.
And she, look, man, for her to be talking about, I can't breathe, I haven't slept. Okay, wait a minute, man. This shit happened in 1982, and you just now are saying that you can't breathe? Right. And just now we're saying that you can't fucking sleep? Hell, you shouldn't have been able to sleep then. You shouldn't have been able to. And she claims that she told a bunch of people when this shit happened. But why didn't you go on a show like this and give your story back then? I mean, obviously it wasn't fucking Nancy Grace, but there were other news media outlets and shit like that you could have gone on and said, look, man, this is what the fuck happened. This motherfucker's a predator.
Right.
He's a fucking pervert. He's this, he's that. Now, I mean, listen, I know that sometimes girls are scared to say some shit, and I know that he was a celebrity at the time who was bigger than you, and you may not want to, but I mean, look, man, some of this shit just doesn't seem to add up. Now, again, I'm not one to discredit or discount somebody's experience if they really were assaulted or raped or molested or anything else like that. And if she was, then I think Cosby should get what the fuck is coming to him if he did this to her or any other women, right? Yeah. But the thing that I have a problem with is even if her story is true, she's overacting so much in these interviews that it makes it seem like it's not true.
Way too theatrical. Way too fucking theatrical.
That's what I mean.
Quite frankly, if you've been raped and traumatized, like, you don't have to do all that turning up and being all extra.
Yeah.
Like, it's natural. And if it happened 30 years ago, it would be even more natural, you would think. Your response. Yeah. But she was definitely playing up for the camp. I think even the look on Nancy's face spoke volumes, because she had to look like, bitch, please. But, nigga, when she said, I have the right to bear arms and the right to freedom of speech, like, that has nothing to do with anything. Like, what are you talking about?
Nothing to do with any fucking thing. I mean, look, this bitch was just bringing up random shit. And this is why Jay was saying that she's so incoherent, man. She's high on this and she's high on that. Because she wasn't making no fucking sense. through most of that damn interview, you didn't even understand what the fuck she was talking about because she's all over the fucking place. So, I mean, I don't know, man. But
I think it was cocaine and some other stuff, plus the fact that, I think she's lying. You know, we said this, we've already said this. And we think a good deal of these bitches is just making up shit. They ain't got nothing to do, they ain't got nothing going on at the house, we're going to make up something. It's very unfortunate.
You think some of these hoes are telling the truth, but I
think some of, I think a couple, I think it's a small percentage of these hoes, because we up to about 30 hoes at this point. Out of 30 hoes, I would say about 5 are telling something remotely true. I ain't saying they telling all 100% true, but something with a smidgen of fact.
Shit. Nigga said Cosby ain't do a damn thing. Nigga said Cosby totally innocent. You know, nigga said these hoes falsifying shit. Hey.
No,
I don't know, man. I think
clearly at least some of them are telling the truth. And that ain't, even if they're telling the truth, I don't think they're telling 100% of the truth. This is what I think. These are my true feelings. Because I've kind of gone back and forth on this. But with this Janice Dickinson interview and some of this other bullshit that's come out, and it was recently revealed, too, that Beverly Johnson and Janice Dickinson were good friends all throughout the 80s and 90s. So they may have corroborated this story together. Because Janice Dickinson is clearly making up shit as far as I'm concerned. Having all that said, though, I'm leaning more towards Bill Cosby didn't do shit to these hoes. What I think happened, and I could be way off the mark here, but this is how it feels. I'm going to speak it anyway. I think Bill Cosby might have been a dickhead. More than anything, he might have been a dickhead to some of these bitches. And he may have pissed them off that way. He may have told bitches they wasn't shit, they weren't going to be shit. He may have cussed them out here or there. Or he may have promised them shit and didn't deliver. The bitch said she was going to be on the Cosby show. He might say, yeah, come on down, I get you a part. And then she came to the set high. And he's like, nah, bitch, go on back home. You know, some of these other hoes have admitted to the one bitch that was at Hugh Hefner's Playboy, one of his parties. She said she was only 15. She was only at 15 fucking years old. What are you doing at a Playboy mansion? Like, where were the parents?
Really? I heard she was 18. She was
15? Yeah. But she said that Bill told her to lie about her age. Get in.
Okay.
You know, this shit is problematic for me. You know, another concern that I have, which makes me feel like, you know, they're just making this shit up, a lot of them, is that, again, 30-some-odd years? Listen, people don't forget how you made them feel. People don't forget how you made them feel. So if somebody were to rape you, you're going to remember that. And it's interesting now that they get on Don Lemon and some of these other shows on CNN and tell these incoherent stories. Not just Janice Dickinson, but even the other bitch. There was one, she didn't say that Bill Cosby gave her pills or drugged her. She said Bill Cosby walked into a room, pulled his dick out and just put it in her mouth.
What?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Bill Cosby walked into a room where she was, pulled his dick out, and just put it right in her mouth.
And she sucked it?
Yeah, she sucked it.
What?
Gave head. So, I mean, to me, when I hear that, you can't talk to me about rape.
Yeah, that don't sound like no rape to me.
You can't talk to me about rape or taking advantage. If he took advantage of you, he took advantage in the sense that he was powerful. And he had money. And he used the prestige that comes with that to seduce somebody. But that really ain't taking advantage of somebody. That's just using what you have. Listen, if I'm motherfucking Brad Pitt and I walk into a room and pull my dick out and put it in somebody's mouth, you can't then come back and say that I took advantage of you because I'm Brad Pitt and I'm so handsome and I'm a superstar and this, that, and the third. No, you wanted to give head to a superstar.
Yeah.
You can't blame me for being good looking. What the fuck is that nigga? Somebody said Bill, he took advantage of him because he's rich. I mean, it's not like the bitch worked for him and he was her boss. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And he was a superior. No, that's not how that situation was. Bill walked in the room and said, "Shot Bill Cosby, pull his dick out, see what happens." Wow. Got me some head. Great. I'm going home. And 40 years later, you talking about rape and took advantage of it? Get the fuck out of here. I get that a lot of people feel like some of these women are telling the truth. But when you have folks like Janice Dickinson,
nigga did something. I will say that. You know,
I think he did something too. I think he fucked. I think he got some head. I don't necessarily think he drugged. First of all, some of the bitches are saying that Bill Cosby drugged them, and you go, well, he gave me some pills. he gave you some pills. Meaning you asked for some motherfucking pills, or he suggested some pills and you took them. Not he gave you pills, like he opened your mouth, shoved the pills down your fucking mouth, and forced you to drink water to wash it down. There's a difference. See, this is the problem that I have with this whole thing. Bill Cosby may have did something seductive. Bill Cosby may have done something that you would say, oh, okay, he was giving himself sort of an advantage here. Is it the same as rape? Is it criminal? If somebody asks you for pills, or if you suggest that somebody takes pills and they're not a fucking doctor, then you get what you get. Listen to what I'm saying to you. I used to be a manager. I used to manage large teams of people, right? And motherfuckers would come in there all the time and say, I got a headache today, man. Can you give me something? You got anything? You know what? I got something, but I ain't going to give you shit. You know why? Because if you have any type of reaction, I'm responsible for that. At the same time, I'm not a fucking doctor. So you shouldn't want to take anything that I give you. Go to CVS and get your own shit. But maybe, who are we to say that Bill wasn't simply being a nice guy and these hoes had an adverse reaction to whatever it is he gave them? There's a lot of medication that make motherfuckers drowsy, Benadryl and shit like that. But who are we to say one way or the other what was what? One person admitted that she wasn't feeling well when she got there and asked him for something.
All right. Do you think that there is any way that Bill could have given these hoes pills that he knew wouldn't make them drowsy, or mix them with alcohol and shit they were already drinking, or whatever the case?
Absolutely.
And have that be able
Is there a possibility? Absolutely. But we ain't here to talk about possibilities. This is somebody's life, right? This is somebody's livelihood. We're talking about somebody's ability, and granted, Bill is wealthy as hell, and I'm speaking more from the standpoint of an everyday working person. But either way, we're talking about somebody's livelihood here. So, yes, is it possible? Absolutely. But at the same time, is it possible? Listen, at the same time, the media is not treating him in a way that the opposite of that is possible, that he was simply giving them something that was over the counter, perfectly legal, and they may have had a reaction to it and fell asleep or something to that extent. And they may have slept hard and woke up with their, feeling like something happened to them. Or they may have, listen, I fell asleep and had a wild dream and then woke up like, man, what the fuck? Did that really happen? Shit, I'm looking around like, what the fuck? That felt real as a mother.
Yeah, but all these hoes got the same story. All these hoes got the same bad dream and the same weird reaction to some regular fucking pills, because Bill is really Dr. fucking Huxtable, a nice-ass guy. Here you go. I mean, hey, I'm telling you, man, I think this motherfucker...
If bitches said he slipped something in our drink, we were sitting down, we were talking and stuff like that, and he slipped something in my drink, even that would have a little more credibility, although not all the way. But for motherfuckers to be taking pills that somebody just had, let me ask you something. I don't give a fuck who it is. If you went to somebody's house and they gave you some pills, would you just flat out take them?
No.
You don't know what the fuck they are. Exactly. There you go.
But
different.
Now, there are times you talk about your office environment, right? And I've heard, I don't know how many people, hey, you got any Advil? You got any this? You got any that? Oh, yeah, I got some. They grab their bottle and they hand it to the person, and the person takes it, and that's just that. Because it is so commonplace for other people to do that. Just because we wouldn't do it, don't mean that nobody else would just think, okay, it's just as innocent as me having a headache, I need to get rid of it. And it's easy for a motherfucker to...
There's the difference between your colleagues doing it versus a manager doing it. And at the same time, if you do that, then you have to assume responsibility for yourself, too. That's why I would never take anything from anybody. That's why I never tried a drug in my life. I don't know what's in that shit. I never understood motherfuckers that get out here and shoot up. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to act like I'm immune to the trials and tribulations of life. But what I'm saying more or less is, if somebody is using drugs, illegal street substances, you don't know what they're cutting this shit.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're lacing this shit with. So you think it's normal dope that you're shooting up, but there's all kind of detergent or you never know what's in that stuff.
Yeah.
And what it's doing to your bloodstream and your system. So, quite frankly, I wouldn't take anything from anybody unless I was 110% sure what I'm taking. Yeah. And even at the same time, if I had a reaction to it, an adverse reaction to it, I assume responsibility for that. Now, if somebody were to take it during my adverse reaction, that's different. But what you get with a lot of these hoes is I passed out and I woke up and I don't know what happened. I felt funny. I felt weird. I felt like somebody did something to me. It felt so real. But I don't know what happened. And now all of a sudden, well, Bill Cosby's raping me. Really? 40-some-odd years later, you ain't went to the police. 40-some-odd years later, Bill Cosby's raping me. And I'm just now getting the confidence and the courage. I'm damn near on my deathbed. I'm 70-some-odd years old, and now I want to talk about this? It's a lot of stuff just doesn't add up to me. And quite frankly, I wouldn't care if it was a couple of these bitches or 30 of them. And I'm going to tell you why. People love fame and attention. And quite frankly, if I have nothing else going on, and somebody come out and says that Bill Cosby did X, Y, and Z to me, I'd probably be inclined, too, to speak up and act as if the victimization or the potential victimization that I face is such a big deal that it was too hard for me to come out years ago when it actually happened. But now it's all good. Because you got to look at it like this, too. A lot of these chicks have went on to have normal lives. Husbands, kids, grandkids. These bitches go to the fair. They fucking go to the movies. They live a normal life. They work regular jobs and things like that. How do we know that they're not doing this shit to get book deals? Like, how do we know they're not doing this shit to simply get their name in the news?
I think that some of them may be. But I do believe a couple of these hoes got something done to them. And I don't just mean that they got fucked over. I do think this nigga did something to somebody, man. I just feel it, man. There's something that tells me he did something to somebody. Now, like I said, I don't believe every single one of these hoes. I don't. But I do believe that he did something to some of them. And I do believe that, now he don't want to say shit. And I think that shit also looks suspect. I mean, look, you can say for yourself, hey, well, you know what, man, you can't prove it, so I ain't going to say shit. Okay, but this is rape that we're talking about. And you're Bill fucking Cosby. You mean to tell me that you don't have a word to say, this nigga speaking through attorneys and shit, oh, you know what, it's not feasible that this shit really happened because A, B, and C. Yeah, lawyers always attack the other person's credibility. Lawyers always go for shit that may sound like it's inconsistent and use that as part of a reason to say that their client is innocent and shit like that. But can you ever just flat out come out and say no? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this bitch talking about? I didn't do that shit. That never happened.
I agree with you. I think Bill does need to say something. But I think at the same time that might be feeding some of the vitriol towards him. The fact that he hasn't said anything. A lot of people
I think that he's hoping that this shit will die down eventually because he's not talking. But shit, look, man, these bitches still keep on coming out the woodwork. So look,
for number one,
going away.
Here's one thing, and I've known this from personal experience. Shit will pass.
Yeah.
Everything will pass in due time. You give it a minute. This shit will be yesterday's news because something else will come out. Something else will happen. Another football player beat his wife or beat his kids or something. Promise you, this is life.
Yeah.
So other shit will come out. Nobody will be talking about this after a while. But here's the thing. His legacy is tarnished one way or another. But I do feel like the fact that he's not speaking is definitely upsetting some people because they want him to come out and say something. And I was one of those people for a minute. I was like, you know what? He needs to say something, man. This is bullshit. We actually talked about it on the show. I was like, this is bullshit, man. Come out and say something because if somebody accused us of being child molesters, I wouldn't be able. They couldn't pay me enough to be quiet about it.
Right.
They couldn't pay me. Ain't enough money on the planet. I would be in them motherfuckers' asses. I would fight every last one of them for one.
Right.
Physically and legally. But when you fall back and you think about it, it kind of makes sense for him to not say anything. And I'm going to tell you why. If he does an interview tomorrow with anybody, Don Lemon, Howard Stern, any of these motherfuckers. J&J, because, we up there. But he could not say enough in that fucking interview to satisfy anybody. No matter how much information or details he gives us in that fucking interview, motherfuckers are going to want more. Not only are they going to want more.
Because if we interviewed that motherfucker, man, and we get all the damn details, man, and we ask all the right
but we're different
questions.
Everybody ain't us. Everybody ain't us. We different. We're different. But we don't have the capital behind us because of what we did to Sony and ABC. So they took away a little bit of our funding. That's a whole other subject. We'll talk about that later. But either way, big names like Howard Stern, CNN, Don Lemon, and some of these other folk who may end up getting an interview potentially, it was just people clamoring for more. If he comes out and says, this is all bullshit, these hoes are lying on a nigga, a nigga, that's nobody. Motherfuckers are going to be like, Bill, stop it, Bill. Give us another interview. We need to hear more. We want more. Give us more, goddamn. And
I'm trying to picture Bill actually talking like that too. You know what I'm saying? You know, lying on a nigga. Hey, look, nigga, how much money would you pay to hear Bill actually say those particular words? Especially
I bet you any amount of money he does, man. Come on now, listen. Everybody talks a little bit shit at the house that they don't talk in public. I mean,
yeah,
exactly
he's always talking down to black folks, and you know, so the way we talk, the way we dress, the way we act, and all that shit. So you know, the fact
Jesse Jackson got caught saying he was gonna cut Obama's nuts off. Never in a million years did you think Jesse Jackson would talk that kind of shit, but he did. So I mean, I don't put anything past any of these motherfuckers. Bill is probably an MC on the low. You never know. But at the end of the day, man, here's the big thing. Here's the big picture. You know, when we're talking about this whole Bill Cosby situation, if he gives an interview, people are going to want more, and they're going to want more and more and more.